There were a bunch of cards that sold at auction this past weekend for prices so high that it is almost unbelievable. But is this just another case of collectors overpaying? Or could this be a sign of a shift in the market? Could the boom of the sports card hobby be back? We will debate now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. And Teapot and Doug, we are about to leave for the airport to go to Fanatics Fest. I am so excited for Fanatics Fest. By the way, we are actually all going to be breaking live. Yes. I don't know if you guys know, you're going to be joining me.
I'm excited.
I'm going to be on Fanatics Live Friday, tomorrow, from 4 p.m. to I think like 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Cards HQ on Fanatics Live. And we're going to be breaking some football products.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
you ready?
I can shake the rust off. I haven't been a breaker in a long time.
Yeah. Live from the show floor of Fanatics Fest. So guys, make sure to join us on Fanatics Live tomorrow. We'll put a link below. But today, we are here to talk about big news in the sports card hobby. And we've got to start with these big auction results because there was some crazy stuff that happened this last weekend. I want to go through some of the cards that sold where the prices literally, I had to pause for a minute on some of these prices. I had to hit refresh. I had to double check that I was seeing the numbers that I was seeing that some of these cards sold for, guys. Let me go through some of these, okay? A 2009 exquisite LeBron James Kobe Bryant dual logo man auto sold for $1.161 million. Now, these exquisite stuff sells for a lot of money, but this is particularly notable because it is the highest dual logo man sale ever, and it beat a LeBron Kobe from 2004, which had sold for $840,000 just 2 years ago. So quite an increase on that. But that, in my opinion, wasn't even close to the craziest sale of the weekend. Listen to this. We had the 2024 Topps Now Olympic Autographs Gold Stephen Curry signed 1-of-1 card that sold for $518,500, the most expensive Topps Now card of all time. How about Lamine Yamal? We had his 2024 Topps Chrome UEFA Eurochrome Autographs Superfractor, not even his best Superfractor out there, sold for $396,500, and it was just last year that his better Superfractors were selling for less than $150,000. We had a 2009 Steph Curry National Treasures RPA and BGS 9.5 sell for $317,000. That same card in that same grade sold for $150,000 a year ago. It just sold for $317,000. My goodness. How about Caitlin Clark? Her 2024 Prism WNBA Black Finite PSA 9 sold for $274,500. But the one that surprised me even more was her WNBA Clark Mania Autographs Gold Vinyl Prism 1-of-1, sold for $211,873. That's an insert card that sold for over $211,000. We also had, how about this? Wyatt Langford, not the biggest name in baseball, even though I would argue one of the best, being a Florida Gator. Listen to this. His MLB debut patch, his patch auto, sold for $183,000 in PSA 10. I don't think people were expecting that. The MLB debut patches have shot up tremendously what these things are selling for over the last year. And then finally, as maybe expected, we had a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander National Treasures RPA number 3 sell for close to $120,000. Even memorabilia is going crazy right now. There was a pair of signed Kobe Bryant game use shoes from the Olympics that sold for over $107,000. I bought the exact same pair of shoes from the game prior. Same deal, signed and everything. It's from the same run of shoes that he put out. I bought that pair for 35% less last November. So those have jumped. Even memorabilia is jumping like crazy. What is going on here? With all these auction results, what surprises you the most, and what is the bigger picture? Is this just like a crazy hot auction, or is the market truly red hot right now, and we are readjusting to a new normal. Teapot, I'm going to start with you.
Well, it's another week, another big set of auction sales. It's nothing new under the sun, as they say. A few things stand out to me from this. First of all, the Curry Go to Sleep for $519,000.
A Topps
when the
Now
other
card.
one, with a great photo of him reacting passionately, goes for $79,000.
I almost regret that I didn't buy that one.
Yeah, I mean,
for my Olympic collection, I was not going to pay $518,000, but I almost regret I didn't buy that other one.
Both of them very, very, very expensive. One significantly more than the other. It stands out to me as like the same craziness that I argue the PSA 10 premium gets over other gem mint grades from other companies and other things. It's just like, that goes to show you that when you have even, I don't know how many people were actively in on it, but even just 2 people who decide with a high bankroll, I've got to have this card.
With this
Don't
image.
care about that one. I want this one.
With this image, yeah.
That I want to go after that, what it can do to the price of a card. It also shows that Topps Now is here to stay.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
It is.
Money printer goes burr. That thing is like a cash cow for Topps. How many of those base cards are going to be in the Hudson with the mantles? I don't know. But the one of one is making it pretty appealing for people to chase. I'm really surprised, honestly, that the Caitlin Clark Prism Black didn't go for more. It wouldn't have surprised me to see a $500,000 sticker on that card. And that one, along with the Lamine Yamal, those two might be the best ones in terms of long-term value, in my opinion. My dreams of owning an MLB debut patch auto, I think, are officially dead, based on all the increasing price tags of those. It's like the new exquisite. It's like everybody.
I think it is the new normal for those
cards. People are
cards.
paying all kinds of crazy
Huge
price
result.
tags. But overall, like with the market, the high-end market isn't. It's kind of a separate organism from the rest of the 99.9% of the hobby. The two things might be generally moving in the same direction, in the same current, but not necessarily. We've even seen during recessions that the high-end market still flourishes while lower-end cards cool down and go down in price. So it's just different. I think there are a lot of very high net worth individuals who like to chase these very prestigious cards for a myriad of reasons, many of which might not be with any real investment lens at all. They just go, I want this card. I have $100 million to my name. I have $1 billion to my name. I have a lot of money. So spending this on a card isn't that significant, and they just got to have it. It doesn't matter to them if a year from now or 2 years from now, they wouldn't be able to get half their money back for the card. They just want the card in their collection. And maybe that means they're quote-unquote true collector, as some people would like to put out there. But just doesn't surprise me. I think we'll be talking about more record auctions soon. The high-end market certainly seems to be red hot.
It's hot right now.
Yeah.
It's hot right now.
Yeah.
Doug, I'm sure we got comments already in the YouTube about people saying this is a complete bubble.
Yeah.
All these people are going to get burned. All these cards are going to go down.
Or
This
some
is
kind of
just
scheme
complete bubble behavior.
Yeah.
What's your reaction? Is this the bubble? Is this the new normal? What did you see when you saw all of these sales?
Looking through those sales, obviously a lot of shocking results there. I mean, despite the fact that we have consistently seen record-setting sales for every week we could come on the show and talk about a new record.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for several months. This hasn't really slowed down. It's been pretty consistent. You talked about the 2009 exquisite LeBron Kobe dual logo man outselling the 2004. Nat Turner is the owner of the 2004. That he bought a couple years ago. And Darren Rovell just tweeted about that the other day and said it's probably worth several million now.
Probably now,
especially
right?
considering this sale.
Yeah.
I think he said something crazy like $7 million. I don't know about that, but I think that's pretty good investment by Nat there. But the Steph Curry is definitely the one that sticks out. $500,000 for a Topps Now card.
Yeah.
It's. I'm under the impression, and I don't know this for a fact, but that it's the only card that has the image of his signature night celebration, and that's a pretty big draw to Steph Curry collectors.
Yeah.
So. I guess that's the logic if you're looking for it, but it still doesn't really stand out to me.
Well, his Kaboom has that image, I
Does
guess.
it really?
But yeah, his Kaboom,
Somebody had told me that was the only card that had that. So.
It is the only card for the Olympics, certainly, that has that image.
Yeah, well, that makes it even worse. Then.
Maybe the only photo. I don't know if you consider the Kaboom a photo, so to speak.
No, not if it's like the older one.
I don't know. I'm looking. There's one where he's got his hands like this.
Yeah, no, he's got a Kaboom where he's doing night-night.
I'll take your word for it.
People are chasing
Right.
that.
Okay.
People are absolutely chasing that.
So there's one record we haven't talked about yet because it's not official.
Yeah.
And you may not even know about it because the news is pretty fresh. There's an 86 Fleer Jordan, PSA 9, on-card auto grade 10 that has a $2 million bid on it right now. That would be a record for any 86 Fleer Jordan. And it would be, as it stands right now, the 4th most expensive Jordan of all time.
Well, that makes me feel good about my signed Jordan collection.
Yeah, so that's in progress right now. We'll see where that ends up.
Wow,
it's already
that's a little
record.
crazy. That's a little nutty.
Yeah,
because there are 1010s of that out there too that have never
that's
sold.
That's what I thought. Yeah, there's 1010s.
6 of them, I think.
So as far as a bubble is concerned, it seems that some sort of correction is imminent. It would almost have to be. That's just how markets work. That's not any sort of groundbreaking take there. But I don't think it's a bubble in the fact that all of this comes crashing down. But I do think a correction has to happen at some point. We've just been on such a steady climb for this best of the best type of card. But then again, I don't really dabble in that world at all. My perspective is probably a little bit limited.
I don't know. I just think the base of people that are interested in cards right now is continuing to expand and grow. I mean, honestly, I think Fanatics is bringing in, athletes, pop culture celebrities. I think there's now a wider cast of people at the top of the market that have that $100 million in their bank account to throw at stuff that are starting to pay attention. I think you're going to see it at Fanatics Fest this weekend. They're really trying to push that crossover with athletes and pop culture and cards. And I know they've told me they're planning on doing things like part of the reason why they're displaying $200 million worth of cards at Fanatics Fest, this incredible collection, is because they want to bring some of the athletes over to come see some of their very best cards and just continue to push, the athletes kind of more into this, get them more interested in all of this. And once they are, I mean, a Steph Curry card, a Steph Curry National Treasures RPA for $317,000, even though that has more than doubled in the last year in BGS 9.5, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's $1 million card 10 years from now, if this continues to go. A lot of really interesting results. I agree with everything you said. I was just like, wow, on a lot of this. But I think for things like the MLB debut patches, we're going to start seeing more of that. It's just, it's the new normal in many, many ways.
The main difference at the high end is like there are, like, it's really worth acknowledging, there are collectors. They are collectors. It's not, we see the price tag and we go, whoa, where's that going to be? Like the big Herbert sale and other things. But there's collectors who want these cards. And they maybe see an episode of Slabs on this channel and go, I want to do that. I want to chase my own collection that resonates with me, that's an expression of my fandom or my own career or whatever that might look like. The difference is when you're jockeying for true one-of-one cards, whether they be Pop One or one-of-one serialized, that just puts a whole new lid on it, as opposed to like the person with a $50,000 or $100,000 or even a $200,000 net, annual salary. There's usually cards they can compete for or multiple copies, but now it's just one, and you have people who just go, I've got to pay for it. I've got to have
That's how you get people overpaying for otherwise worthless Tim Tebow cards.
Fair enough.
Happens every day. On eBay.
Wasted money on Gators.
Can't believe I dropped $1 million on those Tim Tebow cards. Man. All right, guys, let's add some cards to our collection. Let's open up a couple of Arena Club slab packs. Should we do this?
Yes,
Who do we want to start with? Who are we going to bring up here, producer? Let's start with Teapot today. You did baseball. Emerald baseball pack. Emerald baseball Arena Club slab pack. All right, here you go, Teapot. Let's see what you got. Let's good luck here.
Ooh, Shohei. Rookie.
Why do you always get the
PSA
good
10.
cards?
I know he's been hot on baseball.
I'll take it.
Maybe we need to open up
take it.
baseball.
Arena
Club Emerald packs.
I don't
Doug.
like baseball.
Yeah. You just trade them to me.
Teapot has been hot on baseball. Did you see that dual auto
Of course I did,
recently?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's go to Ducks.
I'm stuck in baseball mode until the playoffs are over, until the series
Basketball?
Basketball
mode.
Oh,
what did I say?
Brown? You said
baseball mode.
No,
PSA
You're
10.
officially
I'm never
basketball
stuck
mode.
in baseball, but I am definitely in basketball mode.
Yeah, that's a
Jalen
nice
Brown
one.
rookie auto, PSA 10.
That's a really nice
Hey, I
one.
probably did well on that, actually.
Yeah, I think you did well on that. That's a really nice one. Jalen Brown doesn't have a lot of rookie cards. They didn't make as many cards back in 2016.
On card, too. Those look so good in hand.
All right. I got to follow this out. Guys, I opened up a diamond pack.
What are you doing?
I went higher and I put down my credit card. I opened up a diamond pack. Let's see if I'm rewarded. Diamond Multisport.
Is that Baker? Gold.
That's pretty cool.
Contenders.
That's pretty cool. Rookie ticket auto, Baker Mayfield, PSA 10.
I'll trade you that Baker for the one I got a couple years ago, or a couple weeks ago. The encased.
I will say, Baker, underrated, been doing great for the Bucks. Actually really like him. Actually, I think, you know what? I'm going to bring that card to the National. I bet there's going to be a lot of interest on that card.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one to get.
Contenders auto, you can't go wrong.
All right, guys, rip Arena Club slab packs right now, but don't do it until you enter promo code SCI20, because for your first purchase on Arena Club, SCI20 promo code will get you 20% off your first purchase, which makes these one heck of a deal. Download the Arena Club app, Promo code SCI20 for 20% off your first purchase. All right, guys, let's jump into our next story. Guys, this was a doozy here over the course of the last week. These rumors started going around that GameStop was going to acquire PSA. I got involved in this, maybe to my detriment, because then, of course, I get all the, people coming after me on social saying I'm a PSA shill or I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever. But here's what happened, right? So we know that GameStop and PSA have partnered. It's been going on for a while where you can, take cards to any GameStop store and PSA will grade them. This has become very successful. As of May, they had graded more than 1 million cards through this GameStop PSA partnership. In fact, collectibles have become the fastest growing part of GameStop's business, which is good for them because the other parts of GameStop's business have all been in decline. So it's good that collectibles are stepping up for them. Now, last week, rumors started to swirl that GameStop was potentially acquiring PSA. This happened for a couple reasons. On Wednesday, GameStop publicly announced plans to raise debt through a private offering of $1.75 billion in convertible senior notes. And they said they were going to spend that money on acquisitions and investments. And then on Thursday, PSA's website briefly redirected to GameStop's website. So when you go to psacard.com to check on your grading order, you're all of a sudden on GameStop's homepage. Or anything on psa.com, you're all of a sudden over on GameStop. Naturally, this tipped the rumor into hysteria, so much so that I decided to text Nat Turner and say, hey, Nat, what is going on with this? Is there truth to this? Nat said, not true. He didn't have much to say other than not true. Also, a senior PSA official confirmed to Collect that it also was not true. They pushed back to Collect. But if you read the comments on my posts, when I posted a social that Nat said this is not true, probably 80% of the comments were like, yeah, it is true. Now, you're a shill, yada, yada. So most people still think it's true, I guess. What do you guys think? Is there anything to this? But more importantly, would this even make sense? T-Bot, I'm going to start with you.
Could it make sense? Yeah, possibly. At this point, we've talked about GameStop and PSA for a while now. Do I think it's real? The website redirect is pretty interesting.
That one's weird.
That's either somebody internally trolling people, or what is the explanation for that? If you're going to categorically deny that there's any truth to this, you need to have an explanation about why the website redirected. That's the main thing. That's the only thing that makes me give pause on it. Generally, I would, I guess I would say if Nat's squashing it, just what else you're going to do? Trust him, that he's saying is true. But PSA and GameStop are close. Nat is on their board. It'd be a pretty nice $1 billion profit payday if he sold to them for what he bought it for. Maybe it's not an acquisition, maybe it's a big investment. So technically he can say, no, there's no truth to this because I'm going to remain majority shareholder and, whatever. It would be foolish not to evaluate all options at all time. Everything has a price tag, everything. So I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? I love the speculation and the sensationalism.
The sports card hobby loves a good rumor.
Rabid comments and all
loves
those things.
Loves a good rumor. What do you think, Doug?
Well, it's kind of a weird one. On the surface, as soon as I first heard this, I laughed at it, whatever. But then you kind of look at the facts as they come out. GameStop recently publicly said they're going to put even more emphasis into collectibles than they already have. They talked about, raising debt to $1.75 billion, whatever that number was, for acquisitions. And then the one that gets me the most is the redirect on the website. That's really weird. Then you sort of break it down. $1.75 billion probably isn't even half of PSA's valuation, I'm guessing. Yeah. I don't know the number, but I don't think that even gets you halfway there, probably. So maybe that's not as fishy as it looks on the surface. I think PSA probably is a lot more expensive than that, probably twice as expensive as that. Then you talk to Nat. What's Nat supposed to say? Yeah, Jeff, we're thinking about it. We're leaning one way. It's not an acquisition until it's an acquisition. He can say no up until the paper's signed, and he can be telling the truth, right? The rumor is not true until it is. So that doesn't mean anything to me. Nat saying that we aren't being acquired, well, sure, you're not until there's pen on paper, right? So that means nothing. As far as does it make sense, well, I've never thought this made sense. From day one, I said this didn't make sense, and I've been wrong the entire time. So probably it's happening, and it's going to be a great move, and I'm just going to be, constantly doubting it. I don't know.
I don't see it happening for two reasons. First of all, I don't actually think GameStop can really afford PSA. I actually don't think they can. Or collectors, I should say, really, the whole thing. Collectors raised money Nat bought it for less than $1 billion, but then they raised money at a valuation that I think was around $4 billion a couple of years ago. I would think it would be worth at least that, if not more today. Look at their grading numbers going up and up and up. So could GameStop afford to write a $4 billion plus check when their business had been declining? Recently it's been bolstered up a bit by collectibles. Even if they could afford to do it, maybe they can with this, debt offering and all this kind of stuff. But even if they could afford to do it, it seems to me like it would be such a stretch. It would be just such a piecing it all together. It's a little hard for me to fathom. I could believe in investments. I wouldn't be surprised, or something like that. Maybe a merger. I don't see it, but maybe it could happen. The other thing, the technical redirect, the website redirect, I think all that happened there. I bet that PSA is currently building out a portal specifically for GameStop customers, so GameStop customers can see the status of their orders. And I'm guessing that it's a situation where you go to GameStop's website to check it, and then GameStop takes you over to PSA to show a status, and then PSA takes you back to GameStop once you've seen your status. And I'm guessing they were testing and they just screwed that redirect up, and they redirected the homepage instead of that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a sign of bigger things, but I know how programmers work. I know that mistakes like this can be made. I've seen them made before. I'm guessing it was something innocent, even though the timing of it seems completely weird. But I'm going to go that this rumor is false. I don't think it's true. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and all the commenters will be proven right. We're gonna find out. Another thing that happened in the grading world, which is not a rumor, it's real, is that SGC shut down bulk submissions. And this took their bulk submitters by surprise. So there are a bunch of card shops and other companies that offer bulk submission services to the grading companies. We recommend Joe Davis, GotBaseballCards.com. He's been on our show a bunch of times, and even on our website. If you go to SportsCardInvestor.com and you click grading on our website, you can submit your cards for grading to PSA or SGC, and they route through Joe. And he adds some value. He'll do things like pre-screen your cards. So if he sees flaws and doesn't think you should grade it, he'll reject it and send it back to you. He'll wipe down the cards and get them ready for grading and send them off and handle it all for you. So it's a great service for people who aren't super familiar with doing submissions on their own. It's a super popular service. And there's a lot of other people like Joe. Joe's had a relationship with SGC for a long time. And of course, SGC gives bulk submitters like Joe a discounted price. If they're charging the general public $20 a submission, then maybe Joe's paying like $16 a submission and so Joe makes a little bit of margin, as he should, because he's providing a really good service, right? And so this has made this kind of a popular line of business. Well, SGC, with really no notice, just dropped the hammer on Joe and all of the other bulk submitters across the country and said, we are no longer honoring any type of bulk submitting prices. You have to pay the same price as the general public, which as a bulk submitter messes up your business model entirely, because now in order to provide this service, you got to charge more than the general public could get by going directly to the company, which some people are still going to be willing to pay for the convenience, but some people are now not going to do. So it's kind of an interesting swipe, and this comes on the back of SGC canceling appearances at most card shows this year. They had already committed to a bunch of shows. They then called those shows apparently and canceled out on all those appearances. They say apparently that this is because of their backlog and they're backed up and everything like that. Doug, what do you make of this? Is this a smart move by SGC to catch up, or is this going to all come back to bite them in the long run?
I mean, it makes sense to me. As much as I hate to say it, they have a backlog, and it's a growing backlog. The same thing we're seeing at PSA. There's only so many ways you can combat that before it gets out of hand. We've seen PSA completely shut down submissions for a period of time. We've seen PSA raise prices to try to slow down intake. And I think this is probably a decent move, honestly, by SGC, because you don't want to stop submissions entirely, and you don't want to raise the price on the general public if you can avoid it. So this doesn't affect the general public from being able to grade at the same price. This just hurts group submitters from being able to make margin, which is awful. It's terrible. It sucks for those guys. But at the same time, SGC, they don't have any obligation to build in profit margin into their business model for these people. I would like it. It's a good ecosystem. A lot of people can benefit from it. But this will benefit them in slowing down the intake. It'll sort of bottleneck that a little bit, and that's the ultimate goal. Now, what I don't know is how temporary or permanent this is. Perhaps they have plans to scale up, and once they do, they reopen this, and the discount comes back, and everybody's happy. I don't know if that's the case or not. I would think it probably is, but that's my question as far as what's to be seen.
What do you think, Teapot? You agree with Doug, or you have a different take?
Well, so I could be wrong. I originally saw this from Bobbles and Ball Cards on YouTube, and he's been an SGC bulk submitter for a while and is shutting down his bulk submitting now because of this decision. And I believe he said he got a call that made it sound like this came from collectors, like at a corporate level down through SGC, which is different than SGC leadership directly making this. And since Peter's been missing for a couple of months now and hasn't been heard from, it's hard to know. It's hard to know exactly what's going on there. That kind of only adds now to the intrigue of all the speculation about what are PSA's plans with SGC. But the way I see it, there's only two possible reasons, two possibilities about why this decision was made. One, because somebody legitimately thought it was a good call. At SGC or at Collectors, somebody said, we think this is the right move. We're no longer going to eat this margin. We don't need to, or we're backed up, and we're just going to shut this process down. I don't personally agree with that, especially for SGC, because they're scrapping for things, which to me is why I don't think the senior leadership team there would have been like, yeah, let's make it even more difficult and add more friction to get cards submitted to us. The other possibility would be this theory that some people have that PSA, if they're not going to actually outright shut SGC down, is sort of slowly torpedoing them over time to decide, to have always the decision to make if they want to keep them open and see how that helps their business at PSA grow or not. I still lean toward the former, that these two companies are operating, separately from each other, and that it's a good idea, not a bad idea, for PSA to keep SGC around because it creates a number two in the market that they also own at a parent company level. And if they were to shut SGC down or make them look really bad or make it frustrating to submit to them, it's just going to redirect more cards back to Beckett potentially, to CGC, to a Tag, or to somebody else, out there. So overall, I think just somebody thinks this is a good idea. They don't want to eat that margin anymore, and it's as simple as that.
I think that SGC has made some decisions recently that are going to hurt them in the long run. I mean, this to me, I don't understand. As you just said, bulk submitter, been a bulk submitter for SGC for years, now no longer accepts SGC and shutting his business down, right? I have to imagine for Joe Davis, this is going to cause a significant decline in the number of people that want to bulk submit for SGC. Yeah. I just feel like this decision, also the decision to stop going to card shows, I just feel like these things are maybe for short-term gain with managing turnaround times, but I really feel like they're to the long-term detriment. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel good to me, and it does make me question the future of SGC. And it's also, they're dealing with this backlog, but SGC has not had the growth in submission volume over the last year that PSA has. PSA is dealing with a backlog. I get it. Look at PSA's submission growth over the last year. Look at SGC's submission growth. It's not that much. I think they were. I haven't
I'm looking at it right now. I've got it pulled up on Gym Rate. It's steady. It's been a steady rise.
It's been very steady over the last year.
But they're outpaced by CGC and PSA.
Yeah, the PSA is growing. CGC is growing. SGC is staying relatively flat. Yet they can't get ahead of their own backlog. Yeah. And now they're canceling bulk submitters and canceling, appearances at card shows. Something just feels off to me, and it feels like it's not long-term smart.
It does kind of feel like what Beckett felt like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels. It's like you said, there's this early, kind of what's going on.
It was around, what was it, the Mint Collective? When they had this whole display ready and then they didn't reveal it. Yeah. It was going to be the new label and everything. You're right. This does sort of have those vibes.
Speaking of the label, everybody who's not vintage has been clamoring from SGC for a different slab and label for years.
Oh my God, just give me a standard size slab.
Give me a standard size slab.
Please don't make these big slabs that don't fit in a Zion case.
Keep it on brand. I'm sure there's a way you could still tuxedo it, but make it look tighter, smaller. more modern label.
Yes, no innovation, zero innovation, no innovation.
I don't understand it. That's the part I don't understand.
Innovate. PSA has upgraded their holder and their label multiple times over the last 5 years. Many times, actually. Yeah. Better quality plastic, more UV protective, safer, more secure. Yeah. Label has been upgraded a bunch of times with like anti-counterfeit. SGC hasn't done anything. They're just...
And you can pop it open with a penny.
I'm not trying to bag on SGC. No. I think they've done good things in the sports card hobby. I just think some of this stuff is curious.
Yeah.
So and maybe Peter will come out and do a video, and we'll hear from Peter again for the first time in months, and he'll explain some of this, and maybe it'll make perfect sense, and everyone will love SGC again. Maybe. All right, this last story, guys. I don't know what to make of this. We've got a dog wearing an MLB debut patch. I kid you not. This is Bruce the Bat Dog, who was called up from AAA Rochester to make his major league debut in a pregame bat retrieval ceremony at the Nationals Park. So this is I guess this dog was in the Nationals Farm League getting bats after players batted, and now he's doing it for the Major League Washington Nationals team. Well, guess what? He, on his bandana, was wearing an MLB debut patch. We can only assume there is therefore a one-of-one MLB debut card coming of Bruce the Bat Dog. Teapot, does this excite you, or is this just possibly the highest thing ever on the list of gimmicks? Well, what is your thought?
I like the idea of this more than whatever that crazy Tops Now walkout card of the trainer with the
exactly what I was going to say for McNeese State.
Yeah, that was
my whole take.
Okay, this was not synchronized. We've been agreeing too much lately.
I know.
This is not good. So I don't know. Like, would I be upset if I pulled this? No, because it's probably very valuable.
Somebody's going to buy those MLB debut patch cards.
So
people love them.
And dog lovers go crazy for this stuff. So I don't mind it. There are a lot of dog cards that have come out. Mike Trout's got some really sought-after image variations. Logan Webb had one. Ohtani's got a Tops Now with the dog in the photo. Dog people love dog cards. They love it. They love seeing their favorite athlete with their dog. And some of these athletes, Judge has got a dog that he's always talking about. So I like it. I mean, we saw like the mascot patch autos in Dynasty now and stuff like that. So it's quirky, it's niche. And some people really do like it, so I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine.
Teapot has just entered Bruce the Bat Dog into Market Movers, so we will be tracking this. Doug, will you be tracking it? Will you be trying to find this card?
So these the debut cards, they're all RPAs, right? There's autos on all of them, so we got to get like a paw stamp on this as well.
Yeah, maybe.
We need more than just the patch at
paw
this point.
Stamp.
Maybe a little nose imprint. Doesn't do anything for me. Shocking, probably.
You just hate dogs.
I love dogs. I love dogs a lot, but I have a card of my dog, but I don't want a card of Bruce. He's not my dog. I've never met him. I don't know anything about the story until just
not familiar with his game.
Yeah. It's probably not the worst one you could pull, though. I bet that checklist is full of duds that this card will outperform.
Yeah.
I don't know, if I'm opening a pack and I see I've got a debut and I'm getting my hopes up and I see that it's a dog, my initial reaction is probably disappointment, but I bet I make up for that disappointment pretty quickly and I sell it. It's fine. It's cool. It's a cute little gimmick. It doesn't do anything for me, but I think it's cool. I have no problem with it. Maybe that'll be the first one you actually can acquire.
I'll send it to Golden and put it next to Yamal cards, and it'll go crazy.
I think it is both a gimmick.
I mean, Cheetos shaped like animals can sell. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Bring on the dog cards. I mean, whatever. That's gimmicky, but it's fun. People are going to enjoy it. As you said, people will buy this.
Yep.
People will hunt for this. This thing will probably post some record auction. We'll definitely post an all-time record for a dog card.
Yep.
I'll tell you, we're going to be on this show talking about this card, setting some auction record at Golden if Fanatics Collect in, 6 months from now or something. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, guys, don't forget, tomorrow, all three of us are live at Fanatics Fest on the Fanatics Live app on Cards HQ from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, breaking football products. And also, go get your Arena Club slab packs. They are hot right now. Promo code SCI20 for 20% off your first slab pack purchase in the Arena Club app. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon with our next one. Take care.